Netflix just made the same Star Trek mistake Paramount Plus did. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Netflix just made the same mistake as Paramount Plus by not renewing Star Trek Prodigy for Season 3. Star Trek Prodigy creators and showrunners Kevin and Dan Hageman have signed on to write a live-action Lego Ninjago movie for Universal. While great news for the Hageman brothers and Lego fans, this is bad tidings for more Star Trek Prodigy on Netflix, just as Paramount Plus not greenlighting Star Trek Picard's proposed spin-off, Star Trek Legacy, led to Terry Matalas jumping to new opportunities at Marvel Studios and 20th Century Studios. The streaming wars and sci-fi gold. As the streaming landscape becomes ever more competitive, established franchises like Star Trek are increasingly central to platforms seeking loyal viewership. With massive fan bases, rich lore, and the potential for expanded universes, iconic series like Star Trek provide more than just content. They offer cultural capital and guaranteed viewership. However, as Paramount Plus and now Netflix have discovered, handling a beloved franchise in a way that resonates with fans and meets platform goals is more complex than it seems. In this story, we delve into how Netflix may have repeated the same mistakes as Paramount Plus, what those errors reveal about streaming's impact on storytelling, and how it affects loyal Star Trek fans across the galaxy. Section 1. The Paramount Plus Precedent. A Cautionary Tale. Paramount Plus's strategy. Bank on nostalgia. When Paramount Plus rebranded and shifted focus toward its biggest properties, Star Trek was a clear priority. From Star Trek Discovery to Picard, and later Strange New Worlds, Paramount Plus aimed to both expand the franchise and pull in a dedicated viewership. They leaned heavily on nostalgia, character revivals, and new shows aimed at different demographics within the Star Trek community. The challenges and backlash. Oversaturation and cannibalization. Paramount Plus's approach of releasing multiple Star Trek series simultaneously, each with a different tone and target audience, caused a mix of excitement and concern. Some fans felt overwhelmed, while others argued that the franchise's essence was being diluted by constant releases that lacked cohesion. Divisive narrative choices. Discovery and Picard faced criticism for darker tones and storylines that diverged from classic Star Trek ideals. Paramount Plus's desire to modernize Star Trek through more complex, morally ambiguous storytelling was intended to attract a broader audience, but left some fans feeling alienated. Exclusive platform confusion. By moving Star Trek entirely to its streaming platform, Paramount Plus cut off accessibility to many fans who were used to watching it on cable or other services. This exclusivity gambit paid off with initial viewership spikes, but as the novelty wore off, audiences began questioning the value of subscribing just for Star Trek. The takeaway, in the end, Paramount Plus's bold moves with Star Trek gained them some success, but at a steep price, a division within the fanbase, and lukewarm reception to some of the newer shows. This situation provided a clear lesson. Franchises as rich as Star Trek need balance between innovation and respect for core values. A lesson Netflix would come to grapple with too. Section 2. Netflix's Big Bet, a familiar path. Enter Netflix, a new challenger to Paramount's crown. As the streaming wars raged on, Netflix looked to expand its original sci-fi content and saw Star Trek as an opportunity to offer a unique spin on the franchise. With their budget, global reach, and expertise in high-quality productions, Netflix entered with high hopes of attracting both loyal Trekkies and new fans. The mistake: misunderstanding the core audience. Netflix's approach was to create a grittier, darker Star Trek show, aiming to appeal to its global audience who had already shown interest in shows like The Witcher and Stranger Things. But this was where they made their first crucial mistake, assuming that Star Trek fans would appreciate the same intensity. Netflix's strategy mirrored Paramount's in many ways, but with even greater focus on spectacle and grittiness. They envisioned Star Trek with complex anti-heroes, morally gray decisions, and a dramatic, intense storyline that pushed boundaries. Early signs of trouble. Alienating core values. Unlike The Witcher, where complex anti-heroes are a key appeal, Star Trek has always been rooted in optimism, cooperation, and exploration. Netflix's decision to go dark misunderstood these fundamental aspects of Star Trek, and longtime fans were quick to point this out. Platform exclusivity and the release dump strategy. Netflix doubled down on platform exclusivity, releasing the entire season at once in classic Netflix fashion. While this was convenient for binging, it removed the week-by-week fan anticipation that serialized shows benefit from. For a series with as much lore as the Star Trek, the one-time release also prevented much-needed discussions and speculation between episodes. Alienating longtime fans. Many loyal fans noticed that the new Netflix Star Trek series lacked the hopeful, exploratory spirit that had defined the series. By focusing more on drama and character conflict, Netflix created a universe that felt isolated from the collaborative and utopian vision established in earlier series. The series was visually stunning but felt like a hollow shell of its predecessors. Section 3. A fan community divided, reactions and consequences. Fan reactions, a mixed reception. The fan reaction to Netflix's Star Trek was swift and polarizing. On social media platforms, new Star Trek Who Dis began trending as fans voiced concerns and criticisms about the tonal shift. Reddit threads exploded with discussions dissecting the series' failures and analyzing Netflix's approach as a blatant attempt to capture attention without understanding the franchise's soul. Critics praise, fans revolt. Some critics were more receptive to Netflix's new direction, praising the high production quality, complex characters, and modern storytelling. But the fans, particularly longtime Trekkies, felt the show lacked the spirit of unity and exploration. Petitions and boycotts. Petitions emerged, calling for Netflix to cancel or, at the very least, retool the series to be more in line with the original Star Trek values. Fans threatened to boycott Netflix, seeing the decision as another example of corporate interference eroding what they loved. The divide between old and new fans. Netflix had attracted some new viewers who appreciated the show's grittier tone, creating a divide between old-school Trekkies and a new audience. This divided the fan community even further, reminiscent of the challenges Paramount Plus faced with Discovery. Section 4. Behind the scenes. How Netflix and Paramount Plus overlooked fan values. The internal decision-making process. Inside Netflix's creative development team, decisions were largely data-driven. With Netflix's reliance on metrics and viewing patterns, the team had identified an audience hungry for action-packed, high-stakes drama. However, this approach overlooked Star Trek's unique place in pop culture and its established themes. The role of algorithm-driven content. Netflix's algorithm pointed to the success of darker sci-fi and fantasy series, leading executives to push for similar elements in their Star Trek series. This approach, while statistically sound, lacked the nuanced understanding of the cultural values embedded in the franchise. Numbers don't lie, one executive remarked, only for fans to retort, but they don't understand. Paramount's influence. Netflix's move was further complicated by internal discussions with Paramount, who still held some sway over licensing terms. Paramount wanted Netflix's version to be distinct enough from its own productions, inadvertently nudging Netflix toward a more experimental, dramatic approach. Section 5. How could it have been different? Alternative paths Netflix could have taken: 1. Collaboration with fans and creators. One potential path for Netflix could have involved deeper collaboration with the Star Trek fanbase. Inviting prominent Trekkies into the creative process might have helped Netflix grasp what the community cherished most, leading to a show that felt more authentic. 2. Serialized release and fandom engagement. Rather than releasing the show all at once, Netflix could have opted for a weekly episode release to foster conversation, excitement, and engagement. This episodic approach would have allowed fans to reflect on the story and delve into the universe in a more meaningful way. 3. Leading into optimism and exploration. Instead of focusing on grittiness, Netflix could have created a Star Trek series that centered around exploration, discovery, and cross-cultural connections. A focus on interplanetary diplomacy and unity would have set it apart from other dark sci-fi offerings and provided a refreshing change. 4. Staying true to Star Trek's core values with a new spin. Netflix could have introduced a fresh cast and new alien civilizations, maintaining the spirit of Star Trek, while offering innovative elements. They might have even used anthology storytelling to explore diverse perspectives across the galaxy, a strategy that would allow for the traditional optimism of Star Trek to shine. Section 6. Looking forward. Lessons from the past and future possibilities. An evolving relationship with legacy franchises.